Hello, everyone, and welcome to this exam preparation bootcamp for the organized by the AWS Cloud Security User Group in West Africa. So my name is David, and I have with me, two amazing, um, young, handsome gentlemen. so, so we have very special session today. Also, we have Frank. Hello, Frank. How are you doing today? Doing good.
Hello, I'm good. Good day. Good evening.
Nice. And we've got Mr. Imo himself with us today. Hello, sir
Hi.
Imo. How are you doing?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. David. I'm doing great, and you?
Yeah, doing good. Today it's so crazy. Like when I'm sitting in the living room today because the office is so hot, and I had to just come here,
Wow.
open. Yeah, it's so crazy. Like the weather that's been going on, but everything is going okay. So before we
Wow.
go ahead and we kick off today's session, just a quick reminder to everyone: if you are yet to join our community meetup group, what are you waiting for? So that's where we're going to be announcing all the events that we're having. So I put the link in the chat window. So if you're yet to join, make sure you go right now to the Meetup group and make sure you join so you can be notified of all the other events that we'll be setting up. And also, if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's very important that you do that. And also make sure you like the videos, right? So that also helps the community. It gives encouragement and to all the people that are contributing in the back end towards it. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Sir Imo to introduce us to the exam objective that we're going to be looking into today and also to take us through that. But as we go through the session today, if you have any questions, put your questions in the chat window. If Frank and myself have any questions, we're going to be your voice. We're going to be coming online. We're going to say, Mr. Imo, what you said here, can you explain it better to us? Can you help us to understand that concept that you mentioned? So we're going to be your voice in the back end. But also, if you have any questions, put your questions in the chat window and we're going to ask that to Sir Imo. So, Sir Imo, what are we going to be talking about today?
Oh, yeah, we are going to be talking about how we can prevent DDoS attack using some of the AWS security tools, like the CloudFront and AWS WAF and advanced. That domain is going to be taken from the cloud infrastructure security, and I believe we have it on the screen. Can you bring that up, Mr. David?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes. So it's on the screen now.
So we'll be talking about okay, under cloud infrastructure security. We're talking about this is what we are going to be dealing with. This is that's the domain 3, and then the bullet point 2 and 3, something like that. So it is promising to be an interesting section, and I believe we'll get to understand fully what we really want to do with kind of protecting our web services, our web application against this denial of service that has been a kind of topmost topics when it comes to a deliberate attempt to just deny users access to your application and
Mm.
all that. So that is what this topic is going to be all about.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
So
So
we move down to, okay, go ahead. You want to say
yeah.
something?
So awesome. So we're looking forward to it. So Mr. Frank and myself will go to the background now. We'll hand over to you, or we're going to be coming up once in a while to ask questions and also to read questions from the audience. So over to you, Saimo.
Okay. So good evening and good afternoon. I know a lot of you are joining us from a different time zone from the one time region. And if you are really much interested in writing your certified AWS certified security specialty exam, this section is for you. Just as the moderator, Mr. David, has pointed you to our meetup group, and that is a very perfect place for you to stay up to date with our upcoming event and section that we are having in store for you. So, without much, without wasting much of the time, we're going to move down to today's topic. Okay, I want to quickly do something. Mr. David, can I change over my power?
That's
That's another
absolutely
question.
that's absolutely fine. And I'm
So,
smiling because
oh,
yesterday well, I was with with Frank. I was with Frank yesterday, and exactly a similar thing happened. So
Yes,
yeah,
I was like, not 2 days
not
in a
again.
row.
Yeah,
In fact, I had to turn on my generator today just so that I don't experience the same thing in case they take it. So I'm currently on generator,
yeah.
so I'm
It's
not
not good
interrupted.
marketing for NEPA, right?
No, it's
Or
not.
whatever they call that.
Oh God.
Yeah. So yeah. So I wish that. Well, it's something that how sort of like the popularity of something like solar use is solar like getting maybe more adopted in terms
It
of maybe
is.
for personal use.
It is. It's one of the services I do since
Oh,
I deal on
nice,
gadgets. So I have installers and they install for people and people have really adopted it.
nice.
So
Yeah.
almost I think it's better than Gen because you won't be experiencing this.
Hmm.
Immediately NEPA goes off, your solar can just be the immediate backup
Yep.
and it saves you the cost of running on fuel.
Hmm. That's so true, especially if you look at like the rate in terms of like the rate of fuel and the rate of importing fuel and all of that stuff, right? That's crazy. It's crazy in
Yes,
terms of
very, very.
yeah, the currency and everything. Okay. So for those that are just joining, so we're going to continue in a few minutes. So we're just waiting for Mr. Imo to switch over his power supply because as he was about to start, the power supply, people switched off the light. So Mr. Imo is going over to switch over to another power supply so we can continue. And I think he's back
all
now.
right, I'm back.
Hello.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Welcome back. So
Thank you very much.
we've got the experience 2 days in a row.
So, okay, yes, we're back. And I'm glad. And thank you for staying tuned for us. Okay, so we move down to, before we look at, oh, a lot of you does not know me. And this is a little thing that you can know about me. And my name is Imo Etuk, as you have heard about that. Then I'm one of the AWS community builders. And I also AWS community user group leader and MCT, Microsoft certified trainer. And a leader of one of the Azure Cloud, Azure Nigerian community leaders. And I work with a company called Consultant Collaborative Partnership here in Nigeria. And I have over 7 years general experience in IT infrastructure. Then for the cloud, I have played around cloud security for 2 years now, and also AWS Cloud, which is the leader. I've had like 2 years experience and 3 years in Azure. So far I've certified in Azure administration, DevOps, Azure security, M365, and also AWS Cloud Practitioner. I'm also one of the candidates for the AWS Certified Security Specialist specialty exam. So you and I are going to be sitting for that exam anytime from now. So let's move down quickly to another one. In case you are just joining us and you have heard about cloud computing, the skill is really, really, yeah, in fact, according to a report, LinkedIn, the skills company need most in 2019 and how to learn this in general. It was a kind of thing that cloud computing is the number one hard skills company needs in this 21st century. So, and also cloud jobs are projected to grow. So it is no longer kind of something that someone should compare you to acquire the skill. So jobs that require cloud skills in the US are expected to grow by 28% in the next 5 years. This is the report that the source is Burning Glass Technologies, Skill of Mass Disruption, December 2020. This was just carried out about 2 years ago, so it's not like an old report. So I have some amazing agenda for you today. The intros, CloudFront, and Route 53. Then we look at what the WAF and AWS Shell Advanced. We are going to also talk about the standard version of the AWS Shell, and also we will do some demo on the AWS Cloud console, management console. So without wasting much time, we'll jump into the lesson proper. So on the screen there, introduction, you have it that, okay, protecting one of the dynamic web application we are protecting against DDoS attack is one of the most topmost issues. And for you to be able to at least safeguard the security of your users to your application, there is need for you to maximize the various security tools put in place by the AWS. They have made it so easy that you can, with a click of a click through on the AWS management console, you can easily protect your web application against DDoS attack. What I have there is protecting dynamic web application against DDoS attacks is one of the most important steps in ensuring maximum security for your users when they visit your website or make use of your application. So in this presentation, what we are going to look at, it will be, I will take you through some of the following, like what is cloud, Amazon CloudFront, and we look at the Route 53. We also look at the web application firewall, WAF, and we also look at the AWS Shell Advanced and the standard. Sorry, I omitted that. So I will also go into briefly a hands-on demo section on the AWS management console. So without wasting much time, let's go. So what is Amazon CloudFront? So this is one of the term that has been in our mouth for a long time as far as AWS is concerned. We have been hearing about CloudFront in a while. So today now we are going to look at we have on the screen. Amazon CloudFront is a web service that speeds up distribution of your static and dynamic web content. Its web content it can be HTML, CSS, JS, JavaScript file, and image files to your users. Then these users that come to visit your own website with Amazon content delivery network, which is known as Amazon CloudFront, will help to cache and serve static content, static text and images, or downloadable objects such as media files and documents. It is a common strategy to improve web page load times. It helps to reduce a kind of network bandwidth for your users and all that, and lessen costs. In the process of reducing the bandwidth, it actually reduce costs and enable your users to at least benefit from that. So CloudFront delivers your content through a worldwide network of data centers called edge locations. When a user requests content that you are serving with CloudFront, the request is routed to the edge location that provides the lowest latency, time delay, so that content is delivered with the best possible performance. So that is what a CloudFront can do for your application. And in the process of doing this, it's actually mitigating against the distributed denial of service. Distributed denial of service is one of the things that everybody, you use the web, you are facing it every day, and it's something that is worth tackling as a security specialist. You need to put measures in place to tackle that. Distributed denial of service is an attack, a kind of a malicious attempt just to deliberately disrupt the normal traffic of a targeted server. It's something that's deliberately done, as the name implies. They put this in place to just overwhelm the normal flow of traffic to your users. So AWS has come up with CloudFront and to help serve content quickly to your users using the edge location servers. So we move down to another concept. Please, if you have questions, just as the moderator said, drop them. I'll be taking them along with me as I'm presenting. So, okay. Yes. Okay, I can see that has been answered. Oh, Frank, are you taking up the question? Yes. Okay. Do Amazon have edge location in Africa? I think I made a blog post on our Medium page some time ago about the launching of a new Amazon building their data center in Nigeria, West Africa. So
I think Mr. David also mentioned that in his first class.
Okay. So
yes. so they can check the first class.
Okay, so we move on to the next section. Next slide. And we're simply going to talk about Route 53 briefly. So Route 53, as it is there on the screen, is about, is a available and uh, highly available and stable domain name system web service. Route 53 connects users. I help connect user requests to internet applications running on AWS or on premises. What this simply means is that you can have it to be dedicated to your own on-premises network as directly from the AWS network directly. As in, the way it works, use it to it can help in a kind of like you see in the screen. It performs some function that is very key. One of them is domain registration. In terms of domain registration, your website needs a domain, such as a kind of a maybe awswestafrica.com, something like that. Then Route 53 lets you register a domain, a name for your website or web application. That name is commonly referred to as domain name, as a domain name. So that in the course of this demo, the short demo section, we're going to see how we can at least practicalize that on our platform. So another one is that it can help you to DNS routing. When it comes to DNS routing, what that it means is that when a user opens a web browser and enters your domain name, like for example, awswestafrica.com, you see that in the address bar, Route 53 helps connect the browser with your website or web application. It's just like just as you have your website hosted with a third-party registrar like the GoDaddy and others. That is what exactly Route 53 can do for you. So that is what that. Then the health checking measures that Route 53 puts in place is that it helps you to send automated requests over the internet to a resource,
So,
such as a web server and all that. Okay, go ahead.
So, Mr. Emo, we have a question from Raman. He's asking, isn't it possible for DDoS to attack all edge location of CloudFront?
Oh, okay. That question is more practical. Okay, so I don't think it's possible. To my own knowledge and to what AWS is doing, it is not possible for DDoS to attack the edge location because you also have resources like AWS web application firewall, and that you can also activate that too to also play a key role in protecting your website from DDoS attacks. I don't know if our guy at the top, Mr. David, has something to contribute to that.
Yes, yeah, that's a good one. So I can contribute something to that. So when people talk about like DDoS attacks, there are different types of DDoS attacks, right? They fall into different
Yes.
categories. There is the volumetric DDoS attack, which just aims to overwhelm a network with traffic. It's like you have road traffic, you overwhelm it with a lot of cars, you get a standstill, right? You get odor. So that's called a volumetric DDoS attack. Of course, the volumetric DDoS attack can be targeted at AWS edge locations because at the end of the day, they're on the network. So people can flood them with so much requests so that they won't be able to handle the requests, they crash. However, companies like Amazon, what they do is they have a massive amount of bandwidth. They can absorb this kind of massive traffic and scrub them, right? To what Saimo is saying, if you're not using something like CloudFront, if that's something that's going directly to your website and you're getting that amount of traffic being flooded against you, most likely you don't have the bandwidth to absorb this kind of attack and to scrub them. So yes, they can be targeted against them, but they have a more better shot at protecting than we do because we don't even have that amount of bandwidth to be able to absorb that kind of attack and then scrub them. So that's my part of like my contribution towards that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. David. I think we all understand. Like I said, that's why we different services that can be used to cop DDoS attacks. When that happens, the CloudFront is just one of the services in Amazon, in AWS. So you can use something like even the Route 53 can help in that. We are going to also see how we can use it today in doing that. So we move down to the next resources that can service that can be used for this purpose. Then that is called AWS WAF. I have a question there. How long does CloudFront cache content for, and can this be changed? Yes, caching of content is fast because there's what they call a point of present. Point of present is where this data is cached to, which is I think is also similar to edge location in terms of I think then it travels like it's not like it delays when it's catching the content. It's fast. That is why it's a kind of content delivery network, which makes it more faster. And because it also cops a latency, a kind of a time delay in terms of delivering this content. And for the limits, it said, okay, can this be changed? I think yes, you can customize it to where we are doing the demo section. If there's a way you can change the speed or kind of customize it to meet your needs, something like that. So we move down to another one, which is AWS WAF. Then AWS WAF is a web application firewall that helps protect your web application or API against common web exploits and bots that may affect availability, compromise security, or consume excess resources. So this is one of the most powerful components in AWS. And also, it also exists in other cloud providers. But the AWS with AWS WAF, you can deploy it on Amazon CloudFront as part of your CDN solution. The application load balancer that fronts your web servers or originate server running on EC2 API can also utilize the AWS WAF as well. So now, as it is on the screen, AWS WAF also gives you control over how traffic reaches your application by enabling you to create security rules that control both traffic and block common attack patterns such as SQL injection or cross-site scripting. So some of the benefit that because AWS has the WAF works in the sense that it can help you to a kind of in terms of there's what they call it can help you protect against any web attack. Like we have one of the benefits as AWS WAF rule propagation and update take under a minute, so it doesn't really delay in terms of updating you, and it can enabling you to quickly update security across your environment when issue arises. So it's one of the, and it also supports like hundreds of rules that can inspect any part of the web request. So if you are in the examination, because the purpose of this training is of this section is one of the track the domain in the AWS security specialty exam. So when you see a question that has to do with DDoS, and maybe you are asked, what are the tools, what service you put in place to help cover this stuff? So this you look critically, you see if you see something like has to do with AWS Advanced Shell or AWS WAF and CloudFront, go for that as the answer. That is one of the expo in the exam. Okay, so we move down to the next one. So we have a AWS Advanced Shell Standard and Advanced. So these are the two most services that can help you in copying AWS effects of DDoS attack. So what this means is that you have it to, like we have with the AWS shelf, you get always on solution based network flow monitoring, and inline mitigation is common most frequently occurring network and transport layer DDoS attack service. There's something that's worth knowing. Kind of you need to know that most of these DDoS attack I think it happened on at the layer 3, 2, and 7. Okay, it happened at the transport. That is 3, 4, and 7. So you need to understand this. DDoS attacks takes place in 3 layers. They target the network layer, which is the layer 3, and the transport layer, which is the layer 4, and the application layer, which is layer 7. So those are the things those are the layers, the kind of layer that the attack is targeted most. So they will flood it with traffic, just as we have explained, so that whatever you do will not go through. You see that the network layer is what controls the network traffic speed, and the transport layer is what actually distribute this network, enable communication between application and all that. So we have then the application layer is where the end user actually interact with your application. So that is why the DDoS attack is a deliberate attempt made towards this, made to target these 3 layers. So what we have on the screen there, then with the AWS Shell standards, it provides enhanced resource-specific detection and employs advanced mitigation and routing techniques for sophisticated or larger attacks. You also get about 247 access to the AWS Shell response team or manual. These are the 2 plans that AWS has when it comes to AWS Shell. We have the standard version and the advanced service. So in case you have any question on this, okay, AWS Shell standard provides always on, yes, protection. That is 247 on your resources. So we move down to the AWS portal, AWS management console, to check out how these resources can be used or can be deployed to help us mitigate against DDoS attack. So if you are with me on maybe on your system, you can go over to, you can log on to the AWS management console. If there's a way you can you can activate the free kind of free plan, and that will help you to at least carry out some of the exercises. Because it's always more better when you are getting the theoretical knowledge, you also do some practical as well. So we'll move down to how, first of all, we'll start with how you can deploy the CloudFront. Then I am right in my AWS management console, and the location I choose is East West. So you can now, when you are here, you search for, we are going to create a kind of CloudFront distribution. We can easily search for it using the search bar here. Let's see what happens if that will come up. So so we have the CloudFront coming up. You can see that global content delivery network. So it goes through the edge location, just as we spoken about before. So I am right there in the place to create CloudFront distribution. So yeah, I'm going to just click on create CloudFront distribution. Then under I can say, okay, is it I think I have one Now, I'm going to choose, okay, am I creating it for my S3 bucket that is directly in the US East region 1. So the origin part, let's see how we can select this origin part. And then so the origin part could be where, if you can see there is an enter URL part to append to the origin domain name of origin for origin request. So this one now I'm going to like enter the URL of my, it could be a URL of my web server where this, I think where the content is stored. When you create or update a distribution using the CloudFront console, you provide information about one or more location known as the origin. So I'm going to see how we can do that. It could be maybe Amazon S3 bucket. So now enter a name for the origin. The origin is already there automatically. Yes, to supply the origin part, which I'm going to check out that to get it later. So now when we have that, we can work on the HTTP option. Let's see what happened. Okay. Yes, use OIL bucket and can restrict access to only CloudFront. Let me see the advanced setting option to see what is there. Okay. In this place, we are going to say, okay, viewer protocol policy. This one, we are going to use the redirect so that I can redirect an HTTP to HTTPS. What this simply means is that if maybe my own URL is only for HTTP and I also have HTTPS enabled on both of them, the hypertext transfer protocol is secure, and you can redirect them to both the HTTP and HTTPS. Then under the allowed HTTP method, we are going to choose the get head option so that I can cover all of this function that they put, post, and patch and delete. So under that, we move down to the next step, which is let's see, okay. We have then the forward headers. Let me see the forward headers. Forward headers. Okay. So what we have here is if you restrict viewer access, viewers must use CloudFront to this. Okay. So in this place, user agent, we're going to leave this place as default. So under the distribution setting, let me see what happened there. Let me see if there's an option for distribution setting. Okay. So let's just see this will go through. See, this is how on a normal, maybe real life scenario where you are doing this, there should be an origin part. Here is optional, so you can skip that. You can leave everything default. Then let's see if this distribution will create. So this is how we can create that. We map it to S3 bucket. And remember, you have content on the S3. If you have content on the S3 bucket, you will see that whenever this the attack is, maybe whenever there's a heavy traffic and maybe the DDoS attack is, you can see that it is also tied to AWS WAF. So we are going to also look at how that can be deployed as well. So let's move down to the one we need to configure now, is because I'm following it serially just as I presented. We are going to do a configure the Route 53. We're also going to look at how that is done. So we go through we go through the option to deploy that, which is you can create Route 53 directly from by searching through this. Let's see. We have it on this thing. Yeah, okay. We are on the Route 53 dashboard right now. So you need to what do you need to create? You need to create register a domain. Here we are not going to do much, but we are going to just I'm going to just point you to what you can do here. Yeah, you need to register a domain, and maybe let's see what the registered domain will take us to. Now you have to AWS has pricing option for your domain, just as you pay to other register domain registrar. Then we have the .com, which is $12. I think I don't know if this $12 is for a year. It's not stated there. So you just have to choose your domain. Let's say this is for demo purpose. We are not registering domain anywhere. So now it's already there. .com, AWS West Africa. Oh, AWS Cloud Security. Let's use the community logo. Cloud Security. Okay. So this is something that you need to play around to get to familiarize yourself with it. So if you check availability and see what happens, you see that they are available. So it's now left for you to, okay, this is per year anyway. Pricing options are per year. The .com that we selected. So you pick one of them, add to cart and check out. So for the purpose of this training, we are not going to check that out. Then here you supply your contact details and verify your domain. So that is how to register the domain. Then another one is to create policy for your domain. When you create policy, you now decide who and who is to have access to your Route 53 main data and all that. So that is policy can, like the IAM policy, it's by default in AWS Cloud. If you are not given an IAM access, you cannot have access to any resource on AWS. So creating policy will help you to limit access to your Route 53 service and all that. So policy name, description, then you go to next. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Want to create a policy. Let's see how that will look like. Okay, and just write policy. Then the version available here is automatically version 1. You can describe what this stands for, version description. Then you can move to next. You select the DNS type. You can go with A or CNAME and all that. Depending on what you are configuring for. You can see that if you are doing the IP version 4 address, you go with the A, or if you are doing the IP version 6, you have to use the AA, 4As, and CNAME record, which is the canonical name, and the mail exchange record, MX, and all that. So that is how you can create that. So let's go back to the cloud to the Route 53 dashboard. Maybe then now you have to create the hosted zone as well. Then create the health check. This health check will actually is what actually work and check the health of your domain and all that. So that is that for the Route 53. So we are going to check out this other one called AWS WAF, how you can do that. Let's just check it out and see how you can enable it for our services. Let's see that okay is there. So we have firewall here, AWS firewall manager. Let's see what happens. So the essence is that you can see that when you are deploying an application, you you can use CloudFront to protect against DDoS attacks by distributing your AWS will help you to distribute your data to edge locations located around the some in strategic location in around the globe. And with that, whenever like Mr. David had explained, the attackers will always deliberately attack your data and the network, everything like that. So, but based on the AWS large bandwidth that they have in place, so the AWS always have a way of mitigating this attack. So you have this. What you need to do here is to create the web ALC, web access control list. So when creating this, let's see how that works. Let's attempt to create one. Then the name of your this thing, specify the name and all that. So associate AWS resources. Now you must have, maybe you want to associate it with your EC2 or S3 bucket. So this place now, the resources that you have in place, I don't have any resource here. I can actually add the resource if I want to add. So is it Amazon API gateway or AppSync or Cognito? Then this is when you can add them. So you click next and go over it. So we are going to also explore the AWS Shell Advanced and the standard option. Let's see what that will happen. So let's just check for they name it together on the platform. WAV and Shell, there's actually a pricing option for AWS Shell Advanced and Standard. I don't think it's free. I think there's an extra, or maybe AWS will take it from your own subscription that you have your active credit. So it's almost the same way. Okay, let's see what this pricing option will give us. So we have the AWS Shell pricing. It's best for you to exploit if you really want to use it and apply it to your when creating resources. This page, maybe I should just drop it on the chat so you can explore that later and all that. So if you have any question, you can feel free to drop it. And like we said before, AWS Shell Advanced Data Transfer out usage fees. Okay, I think that's supposed to. So now, so if you have any question, this is the time to take question. I'm done with my presentation and thank you for listening. But time to take question and interact. I don't know, Mr. David, is there any practice question for the test as regard this particular topic? Because I tried pulling that up, but I couldn't get it.
Hello. Hello. Thanks very much for that. That was an amazing presentation. Thanks very, very much for that. So I do have some questions, and also I'll encourage the people that are watching So if you have any questions, please do drop them in the chat window, and we're going to read them out to Saimo. So Saimo, I just like one of the questions that I have is, you've wonderfully and expertly introduced us to about four AWS services that we can use to protect our digital assets that we're hosting. So you've introduced us to AWS WAF, to AWS Shield, to CloudFront, to Road 53. So my question is it possible to combine this together in some ways? Right? And any reason why I
I,
want to like combine them together? Or do I have to pick one of them and go,
I,
got to use this for my
I
protection and
like
that's it?
okay. Like I said, if you look at the AWS Shield, is not free. I think they charge extra fee from what you can use as. I don't think there's free option, and depending on what you need, on your business needs or your individual needs, you can choose to combine them, all the services together, to strengthen your security needs, and you can choose to use, maybe depending on what you really need. Maybe you are running an application that is a kind of that faces high traffic. Maybe during the we are approaching the Christmas Xmas period, which some company might have high demand. So in that case, you can go with the cloud front to easily cache content to your users. And if you need to restrict access from certain individual, or you can maybe certain powerful attacks, you can apply AWS WAF. So it all depends. It all boils down to what you need for your business. I hope that helps in your question.
Yeah, that's definitely helpful and that's definitely useful. So in terms of so because we're looking at this from the perspective of like the exam and some of the other things. So if I wanted to play around and practice some of these services that you've shown to us, is there anywhere that you could point us to in terms of where we can sort of get maybe useful information? Is that something that maybe we can share later, maybe in the blog post or something, in terms of
Okay.
where we can get answer?
Yeah. Let me go back to my slide and get the educational link. I'll actually skip that. I have the educational link that I'm going to share with you so that you can use it for for our member. Hey, this is educational link. I'm going to paste this on the chat window so people can go there and get the information by themselves. Okay, a moment. Let me bring out my slide. Okay,
Yeah.
that is on the chat window.
Ah,
So
nice.
when you can go ahead and explore that particular link.
Mm,
In this link, you'll be able to understand how to combine about four services
mm,
in combating the effects of DDoS attack.
yeah.
Okay. Any
Awesome.
other question?
Mr. Frank, do you have any questions? Or is Mr.
Oh,
Imo has already answered all your questions already?
He has answered most of the questions.
Awesome. So awesome. So that there's no other question then. So I think that we can sort of like close early today. So thanks very much for
great.
that. That was awesome, Mr. Imo. So just to quickly
Okay.
mention and to encourage everyone, so we'll continue with the study sessions next week. So every Monday and Tuesday for 1 hour, come and prepare yourself for the AWS Security Specialty certification. So I am actually going to be recertifying myself this weekend, Mr. Imo. So wish me all the
Wow.
best. I'm going to be using some of
All
my
the best.
so because I did this exam like about 2 years ago and it's about to expire.
Okay.
So I've already booked it for this Friday, 9:30 p.m. I'll be facing 65
Wow.
questions, Mr. Frank,
Wow.
65
Wow.
questions. So
Congratulations
For
in
the two
advance.
hours, 30 minutes.
Congratulations
Or you need, or you
in
need,
advance.
no, I'll
you
let
need
you know
like
how it
1 hour.
goes. Yeah,
Uh,
well, for is it one that I can't remember 165 minutes or something like that. Yeah, so
already,
170 minutes. Yeah.
Already you are an expert in it, so I
Hey.
can't doubt your.
No, you still have to prepare. So that's the thing. You still have to
Yes,
prepare.
yes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
really, thanks very much, Mr. Imo. That was awesome. Mr. Frank, thanks very much as
Welcome.
always. If you're yet to,
Thank you.
please follow all our social media platforms. I've posted that in the chat window. We look forward to seeing you next week and another community engagement. For now, it's bye for now. Thanks very much, everyone.
Yeah, you have been wish success in your exam by Baba.
Thanks
All
Thanks
right,
to
very
you.
bye.
much.
Okay,
Thanks very much.
okay,
Okay.
bye. Bye.
Cheers. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.